minutes to first. For live team coverage of breaking news, News Talk AM 580 WDBO, Orlando, Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
I'm Richard Cantu.
Today we are part of a broad coalition. We are answering the calls of a threatened people.
President Obama, within the past 45 minutes, announcing U.S. military action aimed at stopping Muammar Gaddafi's regime from slaughtering rebels who've taken up arms against it.
I want the American people to know that the use of force is not our first choice, and it's not a choice that I make lightly. But we cannot stand idly by when a tyrant tells his people that there will be no mercy.
The first U.S. action, a barrage of Tomahawk cruise missiles. The Pentagon says U.S. and British submarines in the Mediterranean and U.S. surface ships launched 112 of those missiles at 20 sites in Libya.
Aimed for surface-to-air missile sites in Libya. They have to knock out those surface-to-air missile sites. There are over 30 surface-to-air missile sites on that northern coast of Libya, most of those around Tripoli. They have to do that before the fighter jets can really get in there and enforce a no-fly zone.
ABC News senior foreign affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz. In Japan, controllers continue trying to get the upper hand at the earthquake-crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear complex. After a cable was run, power was restored at 2 of the reactors. The temperature of fuel rods said to be dropping as cooling systems come back online. Graham Andrew of the International Atomic Energy Agency says efforts to prevent more explosions there have been taken.
Holes have been made in the roof of the reactor building at units 5 and 6 to avoid the risk of a hydrogen explosion.
Higher than permitted levels of radioactive iodine have turned up in spinach and milk produced near the complex. Officials put the number of dead and missing in Japan from the earthquake and tsunami at 19,000. A Houston woman suspected of leaving 4 children alone in her home daycare before they were killed in a fire last month is in custody. Her brother says Jessica Tata surrendered at the U.S. consulate in Nigeria. Authorities believe Tata fled to Nigeria 2 days after the February 24th fire. You're listening to ABC News.
Now, a WDBO news update from Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Orlando temperature is 83 degrees. I'm Nancy Alvarez with our top local stories this hour. Chief Judge Belvin Perry has ruled to allow the jury to hear key evidence in the case against Casey Anthony. Casey's defense team wanted the judge to throw out statements Casey made to investigators and her family and friends after Kaylee was reported missing, but the judge has denied those requests. The judge said since Casey made those statements as a result of consensual encounters with police, her own words will be heard in court. Today is Casey's 25th birthday. It will be her 3rd birthday spent in jail. Thousands of people are spending the day in Winter Park for the 52nd annual art festival there. The event attracts artists from across the country and thousands of people from all over Central Florida. If you're headed there, you may want to give yourself some extra time on the road. Crews are working at the railroad crossing on US 1792. There is only one southbound lane open on South Orange Avenue near the railroad tracks. All lanes should reopen around 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We were there today when employees and union members who work at the Daytona Beach Post Office picketed against the U.S. Postal Service's changes to the branch. Officials want the bulk of the operations at this building to be moved to Lake Mary, but it's unclear right now if the 100 workers affected will be moved or cut. The demonstration was at the Volusia Mall near International Speedway and Bill France Boulevards. If you live near the town of Edgewater and see smoke in the air today, firefighters say you should not be alarmed. Crews are working on a live training exercise, and they set 2 abandoned buildings on fire. The buildings were on properties between Old County Road and Pearl Street. Officials say residents probably saw a lot of smoke in the area today. Units from other agencies were on hand to make sure the training exercise went smoothly. For more on these stories and the important local news of the day, be sure to watch Channel 9 Eyewitness News tonight at 6 and 11. WDBO News Time is 4 past the hour. Traffic and weather.
The right place for conservative talk. Neil Bortz at 9, Clark Howard at 1, Sean Hannity at 3. News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Depend on it.
Hey everyone, WDBO Scott Inez back for the one and only S&W Kitchens. I hope you've heard me talking about my very positive experience with S&W and renovating my guest bathroom and kitchen. Well, I have with me Rosie. Rosie, what kind of work did S&W do at your house?
Everybody did a fabulous job on their particular area of expertise. It worked out very well. And the storage space that I have, it seems like it has doubled. And my kitchen is just fabulous. It just came out better than I could have expected.
Overall, you very happy with S&W Kitchen?
Oh, I walk into my kitchen and it just brings a smile to my face. I can't believe it's the same kitchen that I lived in for 15 years. I like to be in my kitchen now, and I just walk in and I look around and I'm just happy.
Thanks, Rosie. Visit SNWKitchens.com. Spell it out, S, the word and, WKitchens.com, or call this number, 407-965-1120. That's 407-965-1120. SNW Kitchens.
Good afternoon, it's 5:05 here at News Talk AM 580 WDBO, and it's time to check in with the 24-hour WDBO Safe Touch Security Traffic Network. Here's Mike Mundrick.
Westbound I-4 is a little sluggish from Conroy to the Turnpike and through the attractions, and from Osceola Parkway to 535 on the eastbound side. It's all clear in Central Florida on the toll roads, and just an accident reported at Cimarron and University. Traffic is brought to you by UCF Baseball. Baseball fans, join the UCF baseball team as they host Columbia for a 3-game weekend series at UCF Baseball Complex. For promotions and information, visit UCFathletics.com. On the station with traffic every 6 minutes in the morning, I'm Mike Mundrick.
Sunny and warm for the rest of the afternoon. Into this evening, temperatures will cool off into the 70s, but still very nice. Overnight, down to 57. Mostly clear with some areas of fog developing late. Great night to do a little stargazing and check out our full moon. From Severe Weather Center 9 and WDBO meteorologist Stephanie Dion.
And the latest scan of the WDBO weather radar continues to show sunny skies and no rain across Central Florida. It's 83 in Winter Springs and 85 here at News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station depend on it.
This program was recorded earlier for broadcast at this time on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. The following hour was paid for by the host and does not reflect the opinion of AM 580 WDBO. The Pool Fanatics are on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Brought to you each week by your host, Tony Caruso, and his company, TC Water Features. If you have questions about pool maintenance or have been thinking about adding a pool, spa area, or waterfall, you need to call now at 407-290-0058 or 800-329-5858. Now, the Pool Fanatics.
Are you ready for the Pool Fanatics? Are you ready? It's nice outside. You can jump in the pool. You can watch football. You can listen to the show at the Pool Fanatics Show at 800-329-5858 or 407-290-0058. Today, we're going to talk about all things pools. We're going to take your questions on pools. We're going to talk about the companies that Tony endorses. Okay, who are those companies? Who does Tony Caruso like when it comes to pumps, to motors, to people to work on your pool? Well, we got a list of them here, about 20, 25 long, so that way you know that he's bringing a team to your pool and a team that you can depend on. You know, there's a lot of companies on there. There's an awful lot of companies riding around Central Florida with a pool net and a couple of hoses and a plastic sign on their pickup truck. Well, what were they doing last week? Lawns. Now, let's get with the people who know what they're doing about pools. We're taking your calls at 800-329-5858. That's toll-free from anywhere, 407-290-0058. If you want to talk about pools, if you want to talk about water features, I mean, Tony and I were just discussing kind of a cool idea for you lakefront people. You haven't even started yet on what you could make your lakefront look like. This guy, he could put water anywhere. So we're talking about some really cool things that can happen. You've been around Orlando. You've seen some of these cool fountains that turn colors. You've seen the water turn colors. You've seen the dancing waters. That can happen. What is it you say about the backyard, Tony?
Amazing things can happen in your backyard.
Whoa.
Well,
what do you
think?
Well, my imagination just went crazy.
Wow.
I don't know about the audience, but...
think about it. You know, your backyard's a palette.
Mm-hmm.
Just be amazed.
And I would say, as I said to you when we first met, you know, if people would be honest with themselves, if you just would be honest with yourself, Mr. Homeowner, look around your home. You go nuts to make that front yard perfect. You run out and you get the Garden Rebel for the morning show, and you get my buddy Robert Vincent Sims, and you make that front yard look so beautiful because you're trying to show up your neighbors, and you want curb appeal. Your backyard doesn't have nothing out there. Maybe have a little pad, what do they call it? The pad.
There you go.
That you can put maybe 2 chairs on. And if you're like my old neighborhood back when I used to live in Eustis, a couple of clotheslines back there, why not put a pool in there, some water features, and increase your family values? Have some fun with the family. You know, I can imagine, Tony, that you build a lot of pools for people who say, you know, on a regular weekend, one kid would go this way, one kid would go that way, the other kid was headed to the lake, the other kid was headed over to the beach, one kid, we didn't know where he was. Then we built this pool. All the kids are at our house now, and it is fun.
Family fun. Hey, a little shout out real quick. We had a Halloween party today for my grandkids. It's called the Caruso Halloween Party.
There you go.
My wife and I hosted about 50 children today.
Cool.
With about 25 adults. We had a carnival, had a great time. Great time. So I do not have an atypical backyard. Nothing in my backyard is typical to anybody's backyard. I'm being honest with you.
Sure.
And one of the ladies came up to me and said, why is your backyard not in Southern Homes and Garden? I said, well, probably because it doesn't really fit for Southern Homes and Garden, but I do not have an atypical backyard. And the reason I don't is because I wanted to do something that somebody else doesn't have. And that is, you know, a little bit of atmosphere. It's neat what we did is my pool sits about 65 feet from my house. So I do have a little bit of property by saying so, but I kind of grouped it in areas. You know, I got a cabana to the right, got a patio to the left, got a fireplace in the corner. You know, we kind of set it up a little differently because everybody wants to be in one contained area. So when we do a pool that's parallel to the back of the house, one of the biggest mistakes they make is they don't have a deck for it. You know, they want to entertain, but there's no deck space. So we try to maximize and get all the thoughts out there to make this backyard look wonderful. And landscaping is key. So when you talk about that beautiful front yard, your backyard could be a knockout. Mine's a little different. My backyard is plush. It's not as nice as my front yard because guess what? I live out back. Every day I come home, you know, 365 days a year, I promise you 300 days a year, I sit outside. Every day when I come home. So I'm outside for hours. I enjoy the backyard. I enjoy taking care of my plants. I've got 1,300 bushes I hedge. 1,300.
You're kind of like an awful lot of our population. I just came back from the Ozarks where our family has a very nice home. See, to us, the front yard is the water. The backyard is that road that comes up that you drive into and get out and walk into the house. The front yard is the lake side of the house.
Yeah. You know,
right?
you talk about what, you know, different types of pools, how they fit, how they work. I build pools for people that want a purpose. For instance, if you want a pool that you can, I always say you want to be on a float and kind of bounce back and forth. You want to swim some laps. You want to entertain. Do you want a play pool? Do you want a pool with all kinds of features to kind of, you know, make the neighbors a little jealous about what's happening in your backyard? That light show's happening, you know, the lights and the dancing water and the programs and the automation, you know, all those things kind of clicking together allow you to create a backyard atmosphere. You know, like living on a lake. If you live on a lake and you're looking in your front yard, looking at your lake, you're looking at this beautiful, vast piece of property out there. It looks wonderful. We can also enhance that too.
Well,
Think about that.
I mean, there's so much we could do. And at 35, if you notice your Facebook page, you're going to notice if you're working along at home with us. If you're playing the Pool Fanatics home version on Facebook, you'll notice that at 35, we're going to talk about some neat little ideas we've got about what you can do in front of your house if you're a lake house, which is kind of neat too. But, you know, there's just so many things people can do. And we're not talking outlandish fees here and outlandish money, but it's basically whatever they can imagine, right?
Yeah. Think about it. Water features are limited to two things: imagination and budget. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm being honest with you.
Sure.
I mean, so are swimming pools. Your imagination and budget. You know, we try to, you know, people today are learning, you know, that you're not getting it for, you know, 50 cents on the dollar or 100% off of what it was last year. I mean, you're going to do that. You're just not going to get what you pay for. So, you know, if you really think about wanting quality, it's going to cost you a few dollars more to get what you want. But at the end of the day, I assure you it'll last much longer. And the quality's there. So, yeah, your imagination, if it can run wild, we can really do it. And think about this. How do things, I'll pick on Disney for a second. You know, how do they make things happen out there? Imagination.
Yeah.
You know, imagination becomes reality. If you stay with it, you know, it's like growing up with a dream. If you stay with your dream, the dream will just progress to become a reality, but you got to stay with it. So staying with the imagination, hey, amazing things can happen in your backyard and your front yard, believe it or not. We also do water features in the front yard.
And, you know, it doesn't really matter, I guess, when it comes to your expertise, that even if somebody says, well, I live in a small neighborhood, I live in one of the older Orlando neighborhoods where the lots weren't all that big, you still have room for a pool. You still have room for a lot of stuff back there.
We can cut that patio out and put that pool right up next to the house. Check this out, Rob. Last week while you were gone, I met a wonderful family that has a Frank Lloyd Wright home.
Oh, my Lord.
There is a pool in the backyard that is not a Frank Lloyd Wright pool, but it's 35 years old. And they want me to, and we've already designed it, and they love what we've done, convert the backyard into a Frank Lloyd Wright pool area. Well, think about that. He is very unique in what he did. So if you think about falling water up in Pennsylvania, we started with that look. And we're going to end up with that look, believe it or not. So she is wonderfully happy. She is pleased. We did it, believe it or not, first presentation, full-blown color, with all the color selections and all that. We're working with about 4,400 square feet in the backyard. So we're going to build a cabana that's going to have a stream going around it, the pools, some waterfalls, some conversation areas, a little bit of cut rock here, a little bit of cement here, just a very geo-looking home. But we hit it right on the first shot. So something we're going to start in the first of the year, gutting this backyard at. We'll spend probably about 5 or 6 months putting it back together. But you know what? If you think about taking the architectural design and making it reality, that's another thing. See, I have the luxury of working with just not my team of people, but I work with some wonderful landscape architects.
So the pool can actually be designed to fit the architecture of the home.
We do it all the time.
The neighborhood.
We do it all the time. Sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sure.
All right, let's go to Lou in Orlando. He's got a very important question for the man who's got the answers. That's right. He's our own Tony Caruso, Orlando Luxury Pools and TC Water Features. Lou in Orlando, sorry to keep you waiting. What's your call about?
Hey, how you doing? I got my pool pump when it kicks on. The motor, the pool pump motor, it makes like a squealing sound when it first kicks in. But after it starts running for, maybe a minute, not even, it'll stop making that noise. So I don't know if the motor's going on or what. It's been doing it for quite a while.
Lou, I got your answer. You got a bearing problem.
A bearing problem?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Years ago, it was cost effective to take a motor down and have it rebuilt, put bearings in it. But today it's really not, and I really like to tell you that there's some great technology out there that's going to allow you to save some money in the process. All right, do you have a swimming pool only, or are you pool spa, or just a pool only?
No, just a pool.
And how big is your pool there, Lou?
Excuse me?
How big is how many gallons does your pool hold?
Oh shoot, it's you got me on that one.
Okay.
It's about 30 feet long and. About, I guess, 12 wide or something.
Okay,
like
somewhere
that.
around the 12 to 15,000 gallons of water. If you have a pump, if you consider changing your pump out, please consider not installing a pump greater than a half horsepower. Do you have solar by any chance, or solar on your roof?
No.
All right. No. If you put in a pump greater than a half horsepower, you're wasting some good money. So
that's what's in there right now. That's what's on there right now. A half horse. Yeah.
There you go. If you got a half horse on your pool pump, you are better than 90% of the other people out there that have the incorrect pump on your pool. So consider changing out that motor and keep it to a half horse, and you got a bearing issue. All it's going to do is get worse. Now it's going to clean up a little bit, but it's going to eventually squeal and really upset your neighbors.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And, of course, what kind of pool pumps do you suggest there, Tony?
Well, I only want to go with a Hayward, man. I mean,
there you go.
Hayward, A.O. Smith is their motor of choice, and it's a decent motor. I mean, we stick with it. You should get many, many years out of the motor itself, and good luck putting it in, Lou.
All right, real good. But you will put it in for somebody who needs it, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll put it in.
I mean, come on.
We'll put it in. Give us a call on Monday. We'll set it up, and we'll come out and put it in for you.
I have a toolbox at home, but it's only there just, So I got this girlfriend. I can say, look, I got a toolbox.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. I don't use it.
A motor change out's about 45 minutes. It's not a big deal. It's just generally 4 bolts, a motor seal. We do it complete. Now, a lot of people will go out there and just put a motor in. We put the motor, a seal plate gasket, diffuser gasket, and the O-ring in. I mean, we do all that only because if you change out the 2 components and forget that an O-ring goes bad, guess what? You're back out there for another service call. So if we're about $10 or $15 more, it's because we're putting in a few more pieces of, we'll call it rubber for today. And that is the pieces that it's going to take to make this last. So we do it right. So it's about a 45-minute change out.
Good deal. I use Nick, the producer, to come out there and trim around my lawn. Not with a trimmer, with a pair of scissors.
There you
lay
go.
down and make sure it's just
don't
right.
you call that a manicure?
That's it. Just right. You know. Nick, you missed a place over there. You want to come back here? 800-329-5858 or 407-290-0058. Our apologies for him being on the air last week. And we'll be back on News Talk AM 580 WDBO.
Learn how to fix that plumbing problem or the ways to spruce up your landscaping. Join WDBO for Fiesta in the Park, April 2nd and 3rd. For a special Fiesta edition of Ask the Experts. Our experts will be on site answering your questions and giving tips from gardening to home improvement, pools, and so much more. And it's all free. Fiesta in the Park, April 2nd and 3rd. Downtown Lake Eola. WDBO.com has the details.
Shouldn't you be seeing 2020 Eyeglass Superstore?
Yes, you should, because right now you can get $50 off fabulous designer frames at 2020 Eyeglass Superstore. All the top name designers are in. There's a style for every face, a price for every budget, and right now take $50 off the designer frames that make you look great. 2020 Eyeglass Superstore, where we even pay for your eye exam. If you already have your prescription, bring it in. We'll give you a credit towards your purchase. There's an independent doctor of optometry available 7 days a week. We've also got a full line of contacts, and we specialize in multifocal and astigmatic fitting of contacts. Whatever you need in eyewear, 2020's got it. We're at 1555 Cimarron Boulevard in Winter Park. That's the corner of Howell Branch Road and 436. Look for the 2020 Supercenter sign next to BP. It's so easy to get full directions, coupons, and even make your eye appointment online. Just go to 2020eyeglass.com.
Employers, you know you need a legal workforce, but how can you be sure you have one? Use E-Verify. Simple, secure, and free. E-Verify matches your new employee's information against Social Security and Homeland Security records and confirms whether your employee is authorized to work in the U.S. To learn more, visit us at www.dhs.gov/eVerify. That's www.dhs.gov/eVerify. E-Verify from the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, spring is pretty much here, and no, we're not going to annoy you with the incessant spring cleaning references, but how about a little cleanup on that pokey laptop or desktop computer of yours, huh? Head to Refresh Electronics with your laptop or computer in need of cleaning or fixing, and they'll give you a free diagnostic, find your problem, and fix it for $100 less than the geeks. Refresh Electronics also has a fully loaded Refresh Dell or HP computer system with LCD monitor, keyboard, and mouse for just $149.99, plus recertified Apple laptops for just $249.99. At Refresh Electronics, you get 80% off the big box stores on laptops and accessories from all the name brands, including Apple, Dell, HP, IBM, and Gateway. Visit Refresh Electronics in Longwood or in the UCF area. Call 407-478-8200 or go to refreshelectronics.com for locations and to see their inventory. Before you buy a computer anywhere, check out Refresh Electronics. They really will save you money, and check them out on the radio every Sunday at 1 p.m.
WDBO, Scott and Ez. You know, test driving a car is a pretty cool experience, but it's even cooler when you're behind the wheel of a brand new Cadillac. I'm joined by Bill Hull from Massey Cadillac.
Yeah, I agree, Scott. Seeing a beautiful car on the road and sitting behind the wheel are a world apart. We invite your listeners to come down and take a test drive in the new CTS. It's leasing for only $299 a month.
Bill, I went down to Massey and took the 2011 SRX crossover out for a spin. A smooth ride, great handling, the true definition of luxury, Bill. Leasing now for just $349 a month for 24 months. That seems too good to be true.
$349 a month is correct. The SRX crossover is popular, but so is the entire award-winning 2011 Cadillac lineup.
Well, Bill, I'm coming in next to take out the CTS Coupe, and that's $299 a month for 24 months. What a deal.
It's a great deal.
Massey Cadillac, 2 miles north of Colonial on John Young Parkway, or just south of the Florida Mall on OBT, and see Bill Hull for more details.
Stuck waiting for traffic reports? Tune to AM 580 WDBO for up-to-the-minute traffic updates every 6 minutes in the morning. Depend on it. This program was recorded earlier for broadcast at this time on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Standing up for what's right. Neil Bortz at 9, Clark Howard at 1, and Sean Hannity at 3. Only on News Talk AM 580 WDBO.
Welcome back. Yes, it is. We are Pool Fanatics. at 800-329-5858 or 407-290-0058. You know, one of the greatest things you can do is enhance the quality of your home and enhance your lifestyle, enhance your family, and, you know, just become more of taking your home and making that a gathering place instead of just a place where you eat and sleep. It can become a real lifestyle area, and that's what Tony Caruso does with Orlando Luxury Pools and TC Water Features. And again, we talk about everything that you can do to your pool. We always get questions about cleaning the pool and the pumps and all that sort of thing. But a perfect example by the gentleman who called in, Tony, and he said that his pump or something's making noise. Well, eventually they're all going to get replaced anyway, but now is a very efficient way to replace them, right?
Yeah. Again, you know, and stuff that we put on Facebook and Twitter. I don't do that, of course. My future daughter-in-law is doing that for me because, you know, I'm getting up over the hill a little bit, so it's easier for the younger folk to kind of take technology and run with it. You know, they can type a lot quicker than I can. Sure. So I'm not the hunt and pet kind of guy, and I can do fairly well, but I leave that to her to do. So she does a good job. But, you know, 90% of all the pool pumps on the market today are too large. After 2006, or before 2006. So think about that, Rob. I went out another day. I think I told you, maybe it was about a month or so ago, 5,400 watts this guy was popping an hour. 5,400. That's 54 100-watt light bulbs burning every hour for, believe this or not, he wasn't doing 8 hours a day. He was doing 10 hours a day.
God, would I hate his power bill.
Yeah, about $300 a month. You know what? We could do all of that on one pump because he had a pool spot on a negative edge or zero edge. And could do all that on one pump, believe it or not. And he was burning energy. And energy, if you don't mind paying the power company to do this, then continue to do this. But in December of 2011, you won't be doing this, by the way. You're going to do what the new energy law does, and that's going to require you to do. It's going to require you to do on your primary filter pump, which would be the pump that has a filter attached to it. Any pump 1 horsepower or greater shall be 2-speed. With the default speed less than half the whole speed. So basically, if it's a 1 horse, the default speed is going to be about 3/8 of a horse. It can't be half the whole speed. So you're going to see a lot of technology coming out. Right now, you currently have a single-speed timer. That makes no sense to you because this means you flip the timer on, it runs, the timer goes off.
Yeah.
There'll be 2-speed timers out there. You're going to have a timer that's going to have a low speed and a high speed on it. And they're already out now. I'm getting flooded with emails and faxes that are telling me, hey, it's out there. It's been out there. It's just that now we're having to move forward. Another thing that's coming up, you know, in the commercial end, you know, we have a new ADA compliant law. I believe there's 36,000 swimming pools, commercial pools in the state of Florida are going to be required to have a hydraulic lift to bring you out of the pool. You believe that?
Huh?
Yeah, we just now see the federal government's now getting involved in my industry as well as Consumer Safety Product Council, which also monitors the things that happen in our industry as well, and everything in cribs and toys. But every commercial pool by I think it's July of 2012 will have to have a hydraulic chairlift put in it.
Now, when you say commercial pool,
hotel, motel, apartment complexes. Anything that deals with the public. So we've got there's a lot of laws coming
But what
up.
about homeowners associations? Will they have to put that in the residential pool of the neighborhood?
Not in a residential neighborhood. It's just for commercial usage, like a community pool.
Yeah.
God. So, you know, it's just one more thing we have to deal with. They're making pools safer. I mean, all commercial pools, I think, as the middle of next year, will no longer be on direct suction. All pool spas, wading pools will be on gravity feed. So it's just basically slowing the water down and not ever having an issue with entrapment, ever, ever, ever. So we do realize that swimming pools are safe. There has never been an entrapment in a single drain pool with a cover in place. That's a big word, isn't it? With the cover in place. Remember, there's 10 million swimming pools in the United States, so there's not one documentation of anybody ever being entrapped in a single drain pool with the cover in place.
Telephone numbers and websites.
407-282-4911. That's 407-282-4911. Or visit us at OrlandoLuxuryPools.com.
All right, we have so much to talk about and so much to do in the next half hour. No reason why you can't have the radio on and watch football and call your multitaskers out there. Call and find out about your pool. And, hey, it's not too late to talk this next half hour about heating your pool. All of a sudden, it's going to start turning cool now, huh? Well, we said that a few weeks ago, then it got hot again. But I think now we're getting on the cusp of a little bit of fall weather. And you can find out that it's not too late for old Tony to come out there and make it a warm, snuggly old pool year-round, not to mention a romantic hot tub. 800-329-5858 or 407-290-0058. What goes on in the hot tub stays in the hot tub. We're Pool Fanatics on News Talk AM 580 WDBO.
All along I've been saying no, but I think the answer is yes.
Opinions. Everyone has them. Express yours with Bortz, Hannity, and Savage. Only on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. The station Central Florida turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news. News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Orlando. Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
U.S. and British missile attacks on Libya. Right now, the attacks, which started a few hours ago, have apparently stopped while damage is being assessed. The Pentagon says U.S. and British submarines and American surface ships launched 112 missiles at several Libyan sites and are assessing the damage in what it calls a multi-phase operation, Operation Odyssey Dawn. President Obama in Brazil's capital calls this a limited, multi-nation action to protect Libyan civilians.
The United States will contribute our unique capabilities at the front end of the mission to protect Libyan civilians and to enable the enforcement of a no-fly zone that will be led by our international partners.
Former Marine fighter pilot and ABC News consultant Stephen Ganyard.
We will need to go in and take the radars that we know exist, and we have a good idea of where they are, but it's going to be very systematic, a very deliberate sort of campaign, whereas what's going on over in Benghazi is much more fluid and will be much more on the fly.
With continuing coverage, Target Libya, Chuck Severson, ABC News.
When the skies turn dark, turn to News Talk AM 580 WDBO, your emergency weather station. Morning, noon, or night. We have the latest developments on severe weather in Central Florida.
Hi, I'm Steve Revere, Central Florida Market President for Centennial Bank. I've been a community banker here in Central Florida for over 20 years, and I'm very proud to be part of Centennial Bank, one of our nation's strongest community banks. We have the people and the products to provide you a better banking experience. Let's face it, if you're a business owner or manager, you know how time-consuming banking can be, especially that daily trip to make a deposit. With cash management banking from Centennial Bank, you could eliminate that daily trip and bank right from your desk. Centennial's cash management banking options can make your life easier, like transferring funds, generating payroll, and electronic check deposits using your office PC. You can even do your banking after normal business hours or on weekends. Come see us at Centennial Bank. Just stop by one of our 6 Central Florida locations today. On the web at my100bank.com or by phone at 407-371-6810. I'm Steve Revere, and I invite you to bank with us at Centennial Bank. Member FDIC.
Good afternoon, it's 5:32 here at News Talk AM 580 WDBO, and it's time to check in with the 24-hour WDBO Safe Touch Security Traffic Network. Here's Mike Mundrick.
It's stop and go westbound I-4 from Conroy to the Turnpike. Not a major delay, but you'll hit the brakes a few times through there. Eastbound side has a minor slowdown from Osceola Parkway to 535. An accident at Cimarron Boulevard and University that's causing some lane blockage, and an accident reported on Elephant Trail at Waterford Lakes Parkway. Traffic is brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue. Enjoy Sonny's legendary all-you-can-eat ribs. It comes with 2 sidekicks and garlic bread or cornbread, all for only $10.99. Sonny's, the first name in barbecue, on the station with traffic every 6 minutes in the morning. I'm Mike Mundrick.
Sunny and warm for the rest of the afternoon. Into this evening, temperatures will cool off into the 70s, but still very nice. Overnight, down to 57. Mostly clear with some areas of fog developing late. Great night to do a little stargazing and check out our full moon. From Severe Weather Center 9 and WDBO meteorologist Stephanie Dion.
And the latest scan of the WDBO weather radar continues to show no rain across Central Florida. It is 84 in Ocoee and 85 here at News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station depend on it.
This program was recorded earlier for broadcast at this time on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. When it matters most, remember News Talk AM 580 WDBO, Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
Welcome back. We are the Pool Fanatics, and of course, the biggest pool fanatic of them all is Tony Caruso, the owner of Orlando Luxury Pools by TC Water Features. And when you look around Orlando and Central Florida and you see these outstanding swimming pools, you see these beautiful fountains, and Tony's probably had a hand in it somewhere along the line. And we can talk about some really cool things that he has designed for people. We also wanted to talk about some of the things you can do just with water, because water features is a big part of what Tony does. So let's say that you got a lakefront place, and we were kicking around an idea a few minutes ago. And I said to Tony, people got waterfront. I've got an awful lot of waterfront in Missouri. And I'm thinking we better take a road trip. But we got all this shoreline out in front of our house. We got this dock sitting out there. And it's just sit there all still. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool? You know, if Tony was here about 5 minutes, an hour from now, we'd have water shooting over the dock. We'd have different colors of water. We'd maybe have a fountain like you see in some of these nice lakes and ponds around Orlando, you know, with the water spraying up at night, maybe turning colors.
We can do it.
And I'm thinking, those of you that live on the lake, why haven't you ever done this?
Well, Rob, what we've done.
How cool is that?
It's cool. Think about this. About, I'll do Metro West on Kirkman Road.
Yeah.
Those two big fountains, that's a liner, by the way. That's a liner. It's man-made. They dug those. It's a liner. We did those water features, I think, in 89.
So that's floating, the little ring that sprays the water out.
Those particular ones aren't, and here's why those aren't, is because that's a fixed water level.
Oh, so okay.
That stays fixed.
Yeah.
So there's we actually build what's called concrete bollards. They're big, huge concrete structures that have fixed platforms that have fountain nozzles on top.
Well, let's say that you're north of here on the chain of lakes or on the Butler chain of lakes. All those rich people out on the Butler chain of lakes, I just gave you all an idea how you can spend more of your money out there.
There you go.
You can be the first on the Butler chain, you know, to be the neighbor of all those rich and cool people out there that we love you as neighbors, man. That's so cool. But it would be so neat if you would enhance your waterfront and had a fountain out there by your dock.
Think about that. What we did Vistana Resorts, by the way, on 535. Well, they did some man-made ponds between all of those timeshares, and we did floaters out there. One of the first is probably 82, 83, maybe 84, where we did floating ponds. There's a bunch of them we did. Every time it niched in, niched out, we put a floating feature in.
So it's a self-contained unit of the light and the water spraying up. And the pump is somewhere underwater on a platform or somehow hooked up to it somehow?
Hey, that's technology, Rob.
Yeah,
now
I
you
don't know how it's done.
You want to come to work for us, we'll hook you up.
I was going to say, I can't know the secrets, but we all can imagine.
But the answer is yes. All stainless steel hardware. It's got screening in them. They have backwashes in them. It's all self-contained. All we have to do is tether them. We have to tether them somehow.
Sure.
So if we could tether between maybe a seawall and a dock, or we put some anchor points in, all we have is a power feed leading from the fountain up into a power supply, put it on a panel, wire it, time clock, whatever you want to do, automate it. Think about that. We do some Hayward automation on it.
And you put a little GFI on there, right? Because you got to have your GFI.
Well, you got to have your GFI. I'm not sure how that's going to pertain to fountains because, you know, we're going to, in the 2011, actually in 2008, to NEC, National Electric Code, we're going to have to put a GFCI breaker on every pool pump installed. Think about that. Yeah, it's about $130. We're not going to get away from it. It was a concession that we had to do in order to keep you from having to spend another $800 on a bonding grid around your pool. Yeah, don't you hate it, concessions? We're all going to go out and vote next Tuesday, so please vote no on Amendment 4, please, so we can all stay busy this year. So that's my political talk this year. Vote a no on Amendment 4, please. It's a bad deal. Yeah. So anyhow, moving forward, we do that, Rob. We do floating fountains.
Cool
yeah,
that?
And they're
but
around.
You know, we have grown up seeing those in towns. We've seen them in public parks. But I haven't seen everything because I haven't been over with the high rollers in Alworth lately. But I live on a chain of lakes up there. You know, you got Griffin, Harris, Eustis, Dora. Now, Mount Dora, you got some money. I don't see anybody with a fountain out by their dock.
No, you don't.
Now, how cool would that be?
That'd be really cool because they allow you. And I guess what it would be is, Rob, we'll kind of hold this little secret to ourselves a little bit. We'll investigate some EPA issues and go and talk to South Florida and St. John's and see if they have any issues with it. I don't think there's any issues.
No, we're doing spraying water.
Well, here, the cool thing about that is you're enhancing the quality of that water, by the way.
Or oxygenating
Or aerating.
Or aerate.
Well, we want to
What did
aerate
I
now.
say?
I'm sorry, you oxygenation is great, but aeration is even wonderful.
Aeration's better?
Yeah, aeration, because now what we can do is we can put all kinds of different nozzles on there. If we wanted to do a floater self-contained in a location, I could put a cascade that'll shoot 100 feet in the air if you wanted to. Or we could put in a 3-tier or a 4-tier. We can do fountain heads that'll shoot at 50 feet in the air and 50-foot spread, or anything there smaller. Or we can shoot water over your dock. We can shoot water back over your dock. We can shoot water from your land into the water. There's tons of things you can do. We can light it, not lit, daytime view. If you had a roof on your boathouse, I could put a rainfall up in there and make it rain. If we had the water coming down hard enough at night, we can project images onto that water and have a little show. We might even be able to watch a movie. Think about that. That's how cool water is. The technology is out there. So it's thinking out of the box, working with quality people that think out of the box, like the Imagineers. Imagination. Amazing things can happen in your backyard. So think about that lakefront, too. It's in your backyard.
Lakefront division of TC Water Features. I can see it coming. I might have a new career here.
There you go.
I'd be the Ozark head guy in that. We'd still be doing Orlando stuff here. All right, anyway, let's go to AC in OV, or La Vista. What do you got going on out there, AC? I don't quite understand what's written on the note here.
After listening to you guys, I just started talking. All I wanted was above the ground pool. That's it.
Why do you want an above the ground?
Because of a small lot. No. We used to have an above the ground pool, right? We have a drain field, right, that runs through there.
Right.
We're on septic tank, and my plumber says every time he goes out for a plumbing problem, if people had a pool in the backyard with a drain field, that it affects the drain field. Is that true?
Depends on where the drain field is in relationship to the swimming pool. That's a good thought. Now, think about this. When someone tells you that comment, now there's a lot of new rules, so we can talk about that for a second. But think about this: where's your drain field in relationship to your pool? In today's society, hang on a second. In today's market, the health department's got totally involved in where the pool can be in relationship to the tank.
Yeah.
And to the drain field. But it's always been there, by the way. It's also relevant to where the water line to your home is in relationship to your septic tank and your drain field. But, AC, I don't know where the septic or drain field is. Yes, it is an issue. It is totally an issue. I don't see it being an issue with a vinyl liner pool, other than the fact that the liner is going to keep any intrusion out. But if the liner fails, and then it brings the intrusion back in, so that's the only drawback to an above ground liner pool. You can put a smallest pool in the world in any backyard that you can put a vinyl liner pool in. I promise you.
Well, what he was telling me that the sun takes more moisture out of the pool than the drain field, the drain field itself.
Well, that's Mother Nature. That's evaporation. You're going to sit here, and Mother Nature is going to dictate if the relative humidity is 90% outside. It's doing a whole lot more air saturation than it's 40 outside. If the relative humidity is 40% outside, think about this. I always bring this question up or comment. I looked outside and my pool steaming. Well, check this out. If it's 55 degrees outside and your pool's 80, guess what it's doing in the morning?
Yeah.
It's steaming off. That is heat rising. That's creating moisture to the air. So guess what? Your pool will promise you it's evaporating. It's exactly what it's doing. So when you're driving down the road and you see a lake or a pond steaming, guess what? It's moisturing off. It's evaporating. That's just Mother Nature, that if we're not fortunate to have 10 million pools in this country indoors, so we're susceptible to evaporation. There's nothing you or I can do, whether it's in ground, above ground, on ground, or in your home. You are going to lose water in your pool. No matter what happens, it's going to happen.
So my question is, how far away from the drain field or the drain field itself should a pool be?
The new rules, I believe, state 35 feet from the drain field to your pool, and that has to be permitted. I'm not sure how that's going to involve you on your liner pool, but an in-ground pool now goes to the health department, another bureaucracy move that we have to go through before we actually get a permit. So please call the building department before you put that liner pool up if you have a drain field and see if you have any issues with it.
All right, great. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, sir.
All right, you have an awesome show. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
Thanks for listening.
Sort of a related issue. I've got a friend that lives up in Lake County, and he recently got a notice from the state that somebody passed some new regulation that all septic tanks in Florida are now going to be inspected yearly.
Absolutely. You're going
at a cost of what, I forget how much.
And that's another thing. And it's another revenue generator. There's a big issue. Not trying to get off the track about pools, but on the east side of town here in Orlando, they're doing the same thing. And you know what people are going to tell you? They got to move out. They can't afford to pay to have the tanks brought up to standards. But you know what? That's bureaucracy doing what it's doing. So we are governed by the Florida Building Code. We follow the building code, and we adhere to it. So, you know, the luxury of me sitting on the 2 state panels is kind of, I get a little voice in this, by the way. You know, I'm a consumer. Think about this. Believe it or not, folks, even though I build swimming pools, I am still a consumer when I go home. So I don't want to pay any more than I have to, and I have issues with bureaucracy. That's why I'm on the panels, to work for the consumer. I'm doing everything I can to stop the bureaucracy from making us do things that we don't need to do. Prove things need to be changed, and we'll make changes. Remember, swimming pools are very safe. Swimming pools are as safe as we could possibly make those. It's people that don't make them safe.
There you go. Now, you were talking during the break, and this is what you can do, folks, with imagination. And it's all there. All you need to do is get your priorities straight. You want that 38-foot boat that's going to cost you slip rental and gas and all that? Or do you want to put a pool in your backyard and the water features and all the cool stuff and entertain right there at home and be the house for your company and for all of your circle of friends? And you want to be the place where everybody wants to be. Now, how cool is that? And your kids actually want to stay home. How about that? All right, here's the deal. A guy goes to Tony. And he was a football fan? Tell us this story and what you're doing for the guy.
This guy comes into my office about 3 weeks ago, and he says, you know what, I'm a football guy, so all you Gator fans out there, UCF Knight fans out there watching the football games, you can do what I'm going to suggest to you if you have a swimming pool. He asked me to design a pool so he could bring all his football buddies over and watch the game in the pool. Well, I said, how about a spa? He said, okay, give me a spa too. So what we did was, check it out, we designed a pool and spa that would abut to the cabana. So what we did is, instead of having the spa, jets, and bench face the pool, we spun them around to face the cabana. Check it out, Rob. We also put a sun shelf up on that end, wrapped it around the spa, so you can put all the little mini chairs in there and be undercover and watch the football games. Let's go basketball and go Magic games, so we can do all that. All the sporting events are outside. Think about that. Your pool area is limited to the imagination. What do you want it to do for you? It's not, and we don't duplicate swimming pools, by the way. We don't mass produce them. We don't duplicate them. We want every pool to be different. So this one's pretty neat, you know. We've built indoor pools, outdoor pools. We built pools that butted up to the house. So think about that. What do you want? What's the pool going to do for you? So thinking outside the box. Spa turns around the other way, sitting there.
So again, you know, the guy came to you. You know, I just want to bring this down to table conversation. The guy comes to you. You didn't pull out some 3-fold brochure that says you got the 60 by 30, you got the 20 by 10, and you got the 100 by 40.
We had a few limits. Right. Well, we didn't. We didn't.
That's all you got.
We didn't, and we worked with the pallet he had. His pallet was long and narrow. Long and narrow. So it had an overhead power line, so it even had more restrictions in that. I have to be 10 feet from the water, from an overhead power line, also to a screen enclosure, depending on which municipality you're in. So we had a long and narrow application. So, you know, by the time it was all done, it flows. Think about it, flows. Water flows. It flows. So we're going to put in all the spas that we build. We put adjustable jets in, too. So Mama doesn't want a hard-blowing jet, but Daddy does. You know, we can raise them up and turn them down. So all the jets we install and all the spas we do are adjustable, not the one that just sits there and blows it out. Yeah, we could put the whirly birds in there, the pulsators in there, the turn up the pressure, turn them down, all kinds of cool stuff. It's just really, what do you want? You know, so we really, really, really think out of the box when it comes to swimming pools. And by doing that, you can create your own atmosphere. So think about this. Amazing things can happen in your backyard.
There you go. Don't forget, we're 10 minutes away from news, weather, and traffic. That and much, much more coming up. Plus, we're going to talk more pools on the Pool Fanatics right here on News Talk AM 580 WDBO.
Make the first button on your car radio your traffic button. Set it to News Talk AM 580 WDBO, Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
Hi, this is Jenny from Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, the punctual plumber, with a couple of great tips to help you save money on your energy bill. The first tip is solar water heating. Benjamin Franklin Plumbing can install a solar water heater in your home, and it's the only energy program that still qualifies for a 30% federal energy tax credit. In the typical Central Florida home, your monthly energy savings could be $40 or more. The second tip is for you small business owners like restaurants, beauty parlors, and such. We suggest the Renai tankless water heater. They only use energy when you need them instead of continuously running up your bill. Call us today for all of your plumbing projects and start saving real money on your energy bills. Call me at 407-905-0014 or on the web at benfranklinplumbingfl.com. Call me, Jenny, at Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, the punctual plumber.
CFC 056690.
What do you say to loved ones who don't want or think they need in-home care? Hi, this is Dale Gardner, co-owner of Senior Helpers, and we hear this often. The fact is, what seniors really want is to remain independent in their own home, and that's what we make possible at Senior Helpers. My wife and I have been through this experience ourselves, so we know what you're looking for. Compassionate caregivers who see their work as a calling, not just a job. Senior Helpers provides seniors with cost-effective, one-on-one assisted living at home, companionship, help with housekeeping, meal preparation, medication reminders, plus personal needs such as bathing and dressing. Call 407-628-4357 or visit seniorhelpersorlando.com and join us Saturday mornings at 6 for Living Well right here on WDBO. Y hablamos español.
License numbers 299-993681 and 230689.
They're back. Yes, those annoying lawn weeds are back again this year. Dollarweed, sandspur, and spurge. And that very tough to get rid of nutsedge. But there is a solution. The Image line of lawn weed killers are specially formulated to deal with those tough weeds in your beautiful lawn. Image herbicides are absorbed into the roots and leaves and block the weed's ability to absorb energy from the sun. The weeds just wither and die without any harm to your beautiful lawn. There's Image Kills Nutsedge that specifically goes to work on nutsedge, wiping it out of your lawn in days. And Image for St. Augustine grass or centipede grass is specially formulated to work on these lawns, killing lawn weeds while not harming the grass. You've got two choices for one beautiful lawn. Get Image Kills Nutsedge and Image for St. Augustine grass wherever lawn and garden products are sold.
This dinner looks delicious, Mom. The steak's not too well done.
No, not if you like hockey pucks, and I do.
Son, what are you reading? Her diary. It's getting good. Hey, thanks, bro.
Your mom and I read it cover to cover, and may I say, just masterful. This Chad fellow, is he in high school?
He would be, but he dropped out. Ooh, an entrepreneur. Sort of.
Oh, honey, is it okay if I cut the grass this weekend?
Yes, but then I get to paint your toenails.
All right, but first, let's have a good long discussion about your fantasy football team.
That's a dealio.
Uverse brings peace to the family. AT&T Uverse lets you record up to 4 shows at once on a single DVR from any room and play them back on any TV. Switch today and get Uverse TV for only $29 a month for 6 months. Call 1-877-ONLY-ATT, visit our stores, or click att.com/TV. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Geographic and service restrictions apply. Total home DVR requires extra receivers at additional cost. Offer ends $319.11. Price for you family after 6 months. Standard rates apply. $29 activation fee applies. For details, go to att.com/TV.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do mimes make even less sense when you can't see them?
The mime is stuck inside a giant invisible box. Now he's drawing an imaginary door. And now he's opening his imaginary door. And the imaginary door just shut on his fingers. Now he's doing an imaginary cry.
Switch to Geico now.
You own a motorcycle, a boat, an RV, a PWC, or an ATV. Well, FYI, Geico could save you money on insuring those vehicles. And here's how easy it is. You call Geico and speak with a specialized agent about all the vehicles you own. The agent crunches the numbers. And if you're like thousands of others, your rate is less than what you pay now. And where I come from, paying less means saving money. Call Geico today for a free rate quote. Geico. Saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Sean Hannity.
If you want to kick some ass, Mr. President, and you ought to start kicking your own.
Weekdays at 3. Only on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. This program was recorded earlier for broadcast at this time on News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Orlando's Florida's news radio station. News Talk AM 580 WDBO. Central Florida's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
Welcome back. You know, you too are a pool fanatic. You just really don't know it yet, but you really are. 800-329-5858 or 407-290-0058. One of the cool things about TC Water Features is Tony Caruso and his whole family. And the thing is, we talk about from week to week, and this is so important. When you talk to a lot of people who've had pools in Central Florida, they talk about a nightmare, and it's not a nightmare when you go to Tony. I mean, it gets done, and you take such pride in it. And you probably I bet Tony gets invited to more pool parties than anybody in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. I mean, you know, more than the red carpet people. You know, this guy, he builds the pools for the people. He makes their dreams come true. What's wrong with that? But I've heard so many stories, Tony, and I imagine you have. You're on the state boards. You know, hey, this truck came in. They put this hole in the yard. They drove past the neighbor's yard and tore up their lawn, and I haven't seen anybody in 3 weeks.
Rob, we have a nickname. We're called the Village Pump Crew. You know why?
Why?
We've been bailing people out for almost 25 years. We do probably about 10 or 15 a year where people have gone in, and it's unfortunate. I really can't tell you, if you don't do the research, especially in today's market, you have all the information you could possibly want. If someone gives you a name of a company, a person who is a qualifier, a phone number, and you can do tons of research about that company and figure out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't do your research, and I always tell people, look, if you go to my website, there's a link that'll take you to the state of Florida. You can check my license out or anybody else's license out to see if they're legit. They have been a good contractor. They've been fined, reprimanded, suspended, revoked, whatever there may be. It talks about what qualifications they have on their license. So please, the information is free. Do your research. Please, it's free. So I want to give a nice shout out. We have picked up a new partner this week.
Who we got?
We got up to 24 sponsors now. Oh, we really want to go there. Atlantic Service and Supply is our solar-powered pool pumps. So those of you, think about that. For those of you who just flat out want to get off the power grid and only have a swimming pool only and do not heat it, we have solar-powered pool pumps out. So think about this. This solar-powered pool pump is just a small step forward to where this industry is going. We're going off the grid. We're going off the grid. I'd say within 8 years, swimming pools will be off the grid. Number 2 user of energy in the Southern Belt is a swimming pool pump. Number 2. So AC, which we all got to have.
Yeah.
If we got a pool, we got to have a pump. So why not be one of the 90% who get off the program and get onto the proper pump technology, and let's get off the grid.
Man, that's cool. All right, 2 minutes to spend with Philip from Orlando. What's your question? Real quick.
Yeah, I just want to find out what's the smallest pool you can actually put in, because I heard you talking with the other guy, and my buddy's looking. He was thinking he was going to put an above-ground pool, but if I can get him to put the in-ground pool, that would be better.
Well, Philip, we can do anything. We can do everything from a spool. That's a spa in a pool. That could be whatever you want it to be. We do spas. Let's say we do a pool that's 3 or 4 feet deep. I've done that. The smallest pool I've ever built, believe it or not, is 5 by 10. 5 by 10. You can jump across that. But
now, does that have flowing water?
I'm sorry, Philip?
I'm sorry. I said that would be great if you could do that.
Have them call my office, 407-282-4911. I'm in about 6:15 every morning, so that's 407-282-4911. Appreciate your call. Give us a call.
And what's the website while we're on there?
OrlandoLuxuryPools.com. That's OrlandoLuxuryPools.com, where amazing things can happen in your backyard.
Now, when you're talking about a 10 by 15 or whatever.
5 by 10.
5 by 10.
Yeah.
Is that one of those that has the flowing water so it acts like you're swimming?
That's a swim spa.
Oh, okay.
So we do swim jets too, which is those high-powered jets. We could do a pool, a 5 by 10 or a 5 by whatever it may be, any kind of depth you want to do. We put a swim jet in there, strap yourself in, and turn the pump on and hold on.
Really?
Yes, sir. We do them all the time. Called swim trainers, or fast lanes, or swim jets, Bazoo jets. Tons of cool stuff out there that if you don't have the room but you want the exercise, strap on and hang on, because those things have 3, 4, 5 horsepower pumps in them. Will flat out make you get some exercise.
That's a really neat deal.
It's a great deal. Company out of Georgia we use called Fastlane, or Fastlane is what we use. Endless Pools.
About a minute and a half. Do they still have time to call you at the office tomorrow? What's the number to see if you can come out and put some heat in their pool?
Absolutely.
Good job.
Call me. I'll heat your pool up. Why are you going to have a pool? It's like the boat Rob talks about. You got the boat, you put it up for 3 or 4 months too cold. Why treat your pool that way? Let's put some heat in there. And let's talk about, we don't have to always use the blue bubble cover to cover your pool to keep that heat in. Remember, if you don't protect the heat in your pool, you could lose 80% of what you gained that day, and then you start over again. So remember, if we're going to heat your pool, let's talk about reducing the energy you're going to use by using other technology, which is now an improved means other than the blue bubble cover.
The station Central Florida turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news.